Hello and welcome back to the Just Your Jones show. I'm back after a couple of weeks away on my holidays, and yeah, it was a really good holiday. Went to Orlando, as I mentioned in the previous episode, and yeah, we did a lot of new things this time round, which was nice, which I was going to speak about within this episode. But yeah, it's good to be back. I'm excited to get back on the train, so to speak, of this podcast slash show. And yeah, it's gonna be really good to bring more content to you guys. With regards to the holiday, we went and did American football whilst we were out there. We went to a basketball match. We went to a shopping mall in Orlando, which was ridiculously huge. It was like, you know, bigger than Lakeside. It was a really good place to go to. We did a lot. We had to survive a day or two with a storm, as there was a storm whilst we were out there called Storm Nicole, which mainly brought high winds, not really rain. They dealt with another storm called Storm Ian, which was much more severe than this one. But yeah, that was a bit eventful. Obviously, we, as you would always assume with America, we had a lot of like good food, big portions. But yeah, it was a really good time with me and my brother. I really enjoyed it. The American football was an experience. It was like a carnival atmosphere. That's probably the best way I could describe it. Most of the time, I was sitting there thinking, I don't know what's going on here, but I'm enjoying it anyway, just being a part of it, which was nice. And then with the basketball, it was much easier to pick up, how that worked. The American football was in Tampa, so we had to travel from Orlando to Tampa, which is about 80 minutes, 90 minutes to get there. So, yeah, pretty expensive Uber, but it was worth it. And then the basketball match was in Orlando City, so it was about 20-25 minutes away from where we were staying, so not too bad. That was at the Amway Center, and then the American football was, I can't remember the name of the stadium, but it was, I think it was called the Raymond James Stadium. I think that was right. And it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the LA Rams. So it was the repeat of the Super Bowl from this year. So which the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won the game that we went to see. They didn't win the Super Bowl, but they won the game we went to see right at the end, thanks to Tom Brady, who is the only player that I can remember whose name remember name wise. When it comes to the basketball, we went to watch Orlando Magic, so they're quite inspired by Disney, so hence the name Magic. And yeah, they had some really good players. I do remember seeing some. I do remember the names. Sorry, not seeing. I did see them, but I remember some of the names. There was like a guy called Wagner. There was a guy called Bowl who was 7'2", which was to this day probably the tallest person I've ever seen. Because we got some really good tickets for the basketball. We were very fortunate with that. We were about 7 rows from the front, so we could see pretty much everything, which was a really good experience, especially for my first time going to watch a basketball match. Yeah, there's a player called Bamba. He was quite a lump. But yeah, it was a really good experience. I would highly recommend it, going to watch basketball. If you've got like a spare day on your holiday, wherever you go to in America, go and watch a basketball game. You'll have fun. It's good, fast paced. It doesn't go on for too long either. So yeah, really good experience. But we obviously did some of the parks as well. I say some of the parks because we didn't go Disney. We ended up just going to Universal. But there's obviously free parts at Universal. You've got Islands of Adventure, you've got Universal Studios, and you've got Volcano Bay, which is like the water park. We also went to SeaWorld, which was really good, another water park. But yeah, it was a really good holiday. Came back on the Sunday, so we went from the 5th to the 19th, but we actually, because of the timings, we came back on the Sunday, the 20th. Yeah, the flights were all good, flew with Virgin Atlantic. We got a really good flight time home. It was just over 7 hours, so that's probably one of the quickest, if not the quickest, I've been to Orlando, or back from Orlando, should I say. So yeah, this was my 3rd time going there, so yeah, it was really good. Last went there in 2019, which I think I explained in the previous video, but but yeah, 2019 and now 2022. So yeah, I've done 2 holidays this year, so quite a few, but more than the usual, just the one a year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing more content to you guys. I've got some new stuff to talk about. Obviously, Currently at the moment we've got the World Cup, and at the time of recording this, it's the day after the USA draw, which was a very uneventful game. Yeah, less said about that the better. Let's just roll on the game against Wales on Tuesday. Hopefully we can pick up a win and be top of the group going into the round of 16. But yeah, it wasn't a very interesting game. It was the complete opposite. It was a boring game. But yeah, they're not always going to be 6-2 like it was against Iran. So, but I just think the tactics were all wrong. I don't know, two older midfielders against. Well, not two older midfielders, was it really? It was Rice and Bellingham. But yeah, some of the decisions by Southgate, not to bring on Foden. He brought on Henderson. Anyway, less said about that the better. But obviously there's I'm a Celebrity on at the moment, but I'm not watching that either because obviously I missed 2 weeks of it, and I'm not going to watch the last week of something that I've missed 2 weeks of. But yeah, I've watched, obviously because we had the plane journey, I watched a couple of movies. So I watched Phantom Menace, I watched Empire Strikes Back, both Star Wars if you didn't know. I watched some Doctor Who episodes. I've briefly spoke about Doctor Who in the BBC episode, but yeah, I watched an episode from the Tennant years. I watched an episode from the Smith years, and then I think that was it. I only watched 2 episodes. Yeah, I watched an episode of Game of Thrones. That's another program that I'll definitely be doing some videos about. I watched episode 1 of season 3. So yeah, I just picked season 3 because I think when I last was watching Game of Thrones, I finished season 2, but then I didn't start season 3, so I just went back to season 3. But yeah, I also watched a movie that I've never watched before on the plane. It was called Jojo Rabbit. It was recommended to me by a friend from work, and yeah, it was really good. It was like a wartime piece. It was like, I think they class it as like a black comedy, like drama, historic piece, but it was definitely worth the watch. It's on Disney Plus. I think it is still on Disney Plus. So it was on Disney Plus when I downloaded it onto my phone anyway. But yeah, it's got some good actors and actresses in it, so definitely worth the watch. It's not much of a long movie either. I think it's about an hour and a half. So even if you're not enjoying it, it's not going to take up most of your day. But yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing some more content to you guys. I'll have to have a think about what to do next. I've got so many ideas, but I just don't know in what order to do them. So any suggestions would be great. If anyone goes, "Oh, George, you said you were going to do this. Can you talk about it?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, of course." So yeah, any comments on the Facebook post I put out or on the comments of this video would be really helpful. Because I've got so much I want to talk about, but I don't know in what order to talk about it at this moment in time. So if you can give me some suggestions, maybe give me a suggestion of something that I haven't mentioned I'm going to talk about. That would always be helpful for me. But yeah, that will probably do it for this episode. I just thought I'd let you know the program's back. Hoping to do the 2 episodes a week, but it might be once a week because obviously we're rolling into that Christmas period now, so it gets much more busier. But yeah, I'll try and make it as 2 episodes a week, but it might just be 1 episode a week. But yeah, we'll see. Obviously we're now into episode 9, so yeah, we're getting this ball rolling. But yeah, hopefully I can bring you some content that everyone's going to enjoy. Obviously some of the episodes aren't going to be for everyone. If I talk about Doctor Who, if no one likes sci-fi, they're not going to watch it, which is completely understandable. But when I talk about something that's a bit more, current, like the World Cup, then we might get some more conversation about that. So yeah, if you want me to do some sort of football-y, World Cup-y, my predictions, then we could definitely do that as one of the episodes. Just let me know, because obviously I want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you've got an idea, I'd love to hear it. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Hope you have a nice weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.